Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and this is an open letter to Hasbro, the owners and guardians of Dungeons & Dragons. Hasbro, hey, my name is Scott Garibay. I'm a longtime fan of your product, and I am extremely happy with all of the guardianship that you have done for Dungeons & Dragons since 1999, including the OGL 1.1 that was leaked. I'm not sure what parts of that you actually wrote or what they claimed you wrote, but I understand that the you've had a bit of a kerfuffle of over all of this OGL 1.1. You're a corporation. I think you've done a tremendous job of owning and guarding Dungeons & Dragons. I've been playing some Dungeons & Dragons since 1982, and I will tell you right now, the other two owners, TSR and WotC, did nothing compared to what you have done to give Dungeons & Dragons momentum, give Dungeons & Dragons value, and really just make Dungeons & Dragons better and better and better every day since you've had it. And so I support you through all of the choices you've made. Some of the choices I didn't like, but I've always been in your corner because I think you genuinely care for Dungeons & Dragons and want to guardian it and take it forward. All right. So I'm making this open letter to you today to warn you about a problem that I think you have. Okay. So you have a problem right now, and it's the OGL 1.1 problem, right? Now, the reality is the biggest part of it is the D&D Be Gone talk. That is a real threat. That is a real threat to the D&D community. That is a real threat to Dungeons & Dragons overall. And I think that is a real threat to you as a corporation. And I think people who are using the D&D Be Gone hashtag are the people who we need to be most concerned about in all of this, right? I think they really are a true threat to D&D, a true threat to your company, and a true threat to the community itself, right? Because essentially, it's like we were all playing a game of kickball, and they got upset and said, "Oh, I'm taking your ball and going home," right? And that's the issue, right? Like, basically, right now, what's happening? The groups that are coming against you and all this are members of the OSR community, in my humble opinion, members of the org community, in my humble opinion, and members of the OGL 1.0 creator community, in my humble opinion. And so they're coming at you, and they literally want to take D&D down to the studs and make it so that it's not even remembered, right? And so that's a problem, okay? Now, the thing that allows me to sleep at night, and I think that would help you, right, is no one in the OGL 1.0 creator community, no one in the org community, no one in the OSR community has any real celebrity, has any real talent, and is really able to do anything, okay? Except for one person. One person has allied them, is not an OGL person, never used the OGL, is not an org person, and is not an OGL one, and is not an OSR person really. But he has allied himself with them recently, right? And his name is Ingrid Bernal, and he is the owner he is the owner of Runehammer Games, and he is the creator of Index Card RPG. And he is a real concern for Hasbro. And Index Card RPG is a real concern for Hasbro. Right now, a lot of people are upset with you, Hasbro, and they're pulling out a bunch of old crusty games to replace you. And when they go to the closet and they pull out Rifts, and they pull out Shadowrun, and they pull out Old School Essentials, or they pull out 5 Torches Deep, and they pull out Torchbearer, and they pull out Lamentation of the Flame Princess, and they pull out, a million other crusty old nonsense games. None of those are going to overturn Dungeons & Dragons. But when anybody pulls Index Card RPG out of the closet, that's a problem. Ingrid Bernal is a problem. He is a man who can actually do things. He is a man who understands Dungeons & Dragons better than half of your designers. Half of your designers do understand Dungeons & Dragons better than him. Christopher Perkins is brilliant, and he's doing a great job, moving Dungeons & Dragons forward. But the reality is, Ingrid Bernal is a real concern for your company, and Index Card RPG is a real concern for your company. You have a real PR problem right now. This is very real, and it's a real issue, okay? This is my suggestion to you. You need to take Ingrid Bernal off the board, right? And as a force within the OGL, OSR, orc community, right? One, you may get lucky, and he's joined their groups. He's saying, "Hey, I'm willing to help these guys," right? Right now, you may not have a problem because they may not put him in as a lead or make him or allow him to do anything more than write a few pieces of, of whatever game they're putting together, right? But if they put him as the lead, you have a very real problem, because Index Card RPG is so good, and it is such a good. It delivers on a lot of problems that tabletop role-playing games have been doing for years. It actually runs at cinematic pace, right? It is incredibly simple. It is really simple to explain to people, and it brings a dramatic experience to the table, the likes of which I've never seen any game do outside of Dungeons and Dragons. Nothing has ever even come close. And frankly, I think even elements of are better than Dungeons and Dragons. But the problem is it lacks Dungeons and Dragons history, and it lacks the pure parts of awesome and legacy and hope and joy that Gary put in it. It lacks those because Gary never touched it, right? But what you have today is straight down the line, straight descendant with the same blood from D&D 1, E2, E2, E3, E4, E5. But Ingrid Bernal is a very real threat to your company, okay? Now, if the OGL, the OSR, and the Orc realize who walked into their midst and put him in a lead position, if they keep him as an individual contributor, you have no problems. It's not going to be, nothing they do is going to be what you have. But if Ingrid Bernal gets anywhere near the owner of Runehammer Games and the creator of Index Card, if he gets anywhere near a lead position in being able to craft the next version, that could be a real threat to Dungeons and Dragons. Like, not from a threat of we're going to burn it to ash, but something could be created that's better than D&D, right? So this is what I suggest to you, right? Get ready, get a checkbook, and write a check between $1 and $5 million to Ingrid Bernal, and buy Index Card RPG and release it as D&D Light immediately. I know you don't want to have two versions of Dungeons and Dragons. I 100% get that, but I think the problem of what's happening with this OGL 1.1 leak is so distinct that you need to make a bold move. You actually need to do something real that transforms into change, right? And if you take Index Card RPG and change 5% of it, and release it as an official D&D canon hardback with as an alternate way to play Dungeons and Dragons, and include even one, right, actual D&D canon realm, Forgotten Realms, or Dragon, or Forgotten Realms, or Kryn, any of your official settings, Exandria, whatever you want to do. This will bring a lot of joy and solve 100 problems you have right now, and give something for people to enjoy while they're waiting for the new version. And you could release it in a month, right? So I really think there's only about a 5% chance you have any kind of a real problem, right? But that 5% is Ingrid Bernal. And I'm telling you, if the Orc, the OSR, and the OGL 1.0 creators put him anywhere near a lead position, things could change. It's the only thing out there that could possibly beat Dungeons & Dragons. And I think you could hire him, and I think he would genuinely join. And I also think he's in, like, he really don't care about the Orc, right? What does he care about protecting, in my humble opinion? What does he care about protecting the OGL? He never used it. He never needed it, right? Because he's a real designer, and he knows what he's doing, right? Like, so the reality is, I really want you to be very careful, and I want you to really think twice, and you really should hire Ingrid Bernal. It is very, very critical that you move forward and you make a hire for Ingrid Bernal. You buy Index Card RPG and you skin it to be D&D Light. I think this is a really important move right now. I think it's absolutely critical that you take this move. I understand there's a lot of problems with this, but sometimes you need to take a risk to move forward. And right now, there's real problems for D&D. All this is my humble opinion. I'm giving this to you as a warning because I genuinely care about Dungeons & Dragons, and I really want you to have all the information you need to move forward and win. And this is all the information you need to move forward and win, in my humble opinion. Please, thank you for letting me share this with you, Hasbro, and I wish you all the best as you move forward and as you continue to be the best guardian that Dungeons & Dragons has ever had.